code that you submitted for finding the sum of the ends, and I pasted it here in what's called JSBin. It just helps us look at things. If I were to take your array that you called numbers and place it in the console, I would be able to access any element using its index. So you are aware that number 0 would be 20, and then numbers 4 would be 90. And so adding them together would be 120. That's how you wrote the code. But what the grader was expecting and what was the assignment was to be able to take any list, not one with 5 elements, maybe one with 20 elements, maybe one with 10 elements. It wouldn't matter the number of elements. Your program should be able to take the first and the last and add them together. And so yours was just a very restrictive case because it would only work if the array had 5 elements. Only that way would the first one be 0 and the last one be 4. So it wouldn't work if you had an array that was bigger or smaller. So the way you would do that is you would take advantage of the fact that arrays have something called a length property. Okay? So notice when I say numbers.length, it says 5. Well, if you tried to get numbers 5, it's going to throw an error because there isn't a numbers 5. With 4, there's just 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, with 5 elements, there's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There isn't a 5. However, if you take the length of the array and subtract 1, that will always give you the last one. Let me show you what I mean. If I pull up numbers 5 and replace this with numbers.length, that's going to return 5. And so numbers 5 would still give us undefined. See, that's what we found out here. But if we subtracted 1 from it, it will always give us the last element. Let me show you. If I come up here and dump out numbers again, it has that. If let's reassign it from the beginning. Let's give it a couple more elements. So now we have 1, 2, we already used a 20, so maybe I'll just use 30. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements. So if I say, give me numbers length, it's going to say 8. If I wanted to get this last element, that's element 7. Do you remember what I did to get that? I would just say something like the length minus 1. That will always work. So in your code, if you could just put 0, because that's always going to be the first one, but the last one, put numbers dot length minus 1, and it will always give you the last element. And so then here, when you add the first and the last, it wouldn't matter how long you make the array, it will still work. I hope that helps.